sisters in the disabled communities to ensure that they also have a great experience throughout their menstrual cycle. I have been joined by Mrs. Cecilia Senoo. She's the Executive Director of Hope for Future Generations, as well as a board member of the National Population Council, Ghana. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
I've also been joined by Safia Abdallah Rabo. She is the Executive Director for Zongo Girls for Education, Ghana. Good morning, Safia.
Good morning.
How are you? Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have women on the panel where we talk about women-related conversations. Now, it's an interactive show, so we want to hear from you. Wherever you're watching us from, use the hashtag Breakfast Daily for us to hear from you, as well as the WhatsApp line 0550-585-832. If you're outside Ghana, please use the country code +233 and we will get your messages. Now, I'll start with you, Mrs. Cecilia. Can you tell us a bit about menstrual hygiene? When we talk about menstrual hygiene, what exactly are we saying?
Menstrual hygiene is a natural process. Menstruation is natural and is part of development of women. And many people start menstruation at the age of 10. And so menstrual hygiene, when you add hygiene to menstruation, that means how you take care of yourself, your health, cleanliness, the material you use, everything that will keep you healthy during menstruation. And so basically menstrual hygiene is keeping yourself clean, neat, psychologically, physically during menstruation.
Okay.
Psychologically because of so many things that is clouded with menstruation. And so
get into our context, what are some challenges that young girls face when they are going through this period?
Okay, I think basically we can categorize the challenges under three main focus. We look at menstrual products, because when you're menstruating, you should have products you use ranging from pads. Some people use menstrual cups so as to contain the blood so that it doesn't soil your body and all that. And you also have access to water and adequate sanitation. That is mostly in less developed countries. Infrastructures and facilities are not adequately enough for girls, so as it will provide them with their privacy and then confidence to maybe change when they are menstruating and other things. And also have adequate water, because when you are menstruating, aside using the product, you have to also wash down frequently so that you don't end up getting some odor or infections. Yes, basically. So, and then there's also lack of education. Yes, so because of that, most girls will actually absent themselves from schools and even from work because of lack of education and adequate information about menstrual hygiene and its management. So basically those are the main issues surrounding the difficulties most girls face when they are menstruating.
Let's look at the education bit, because there are we've made a lot of progress as a country as far as free education. But what are the challenges that sometimes prevent girls from taking advantage of that education, especially when they are menstruating? Okay,
so comparing males and females per se, females by our nature and vulnerability, we are not even well resourced when it comes to maybe getting information from technology and other stuff. The males are at a better place than females. And most of this information of late is technologically inclined. So looking at it from that angle, most females are not positioned well to receive the information. And again, when you look at some of the chores and then difficulties females go through, growing up, they are also not well positioned to get the right education and stuff. So those who are not in school per se, if you are in school, you are better positioned, so maybe you'll be part of the curriculum and then you'll be taught. But if you are not privileged enough to be in that group, then getting the right information becomes a problem, because there are a lot of barriers that prevent you from getting the information, and also not just getting the information, getting it at the right time, and how to utilize the information too is very necessary. So those are some of the issues.
Okay, Mrs. Cecilia, please walk us through how far we've come with our battle with ensuring every single girl in this country has access to sanitary pads.
Thank you. It's rather unfortunate. I remember in 2015, there was a lot of advocacy for government of Ghana to produce sanitary pad for girls in school. And many of us were part of the advocacy pushing for it, because that time my organization was partnering sanitary group of companies to promote sanitary pads in schools. But we were thinking that is something that the government will embrace, like all other countries, Kenya, South Africa. I think there is that practice in East Africa. But in Ghana, what I realize is small pockets of people, mostly NGOs, UNICEF, UNFPA, they are doing something. But to have access to sanitary bag by school, young girls in school, it is never established by government. The best would have been the government embraces as part of the Ghana Education Service policy to ensure that every girl have access. When you come to school and you have menstruation, you just go to the maybe the school health nurse or the school health teacher and request that I need it. And you know, the challenge is girls find it difficult to talk about menstruation to male teachers, and so it should have been a teacher, a female teacher, who will understand the girl and ensure that they have access to it. But currently, I don't think we have that kind of thing in this country, and it is a big challenge which is contributing to high school absenteeism for girls when they are in their menstruation. I was reading a document yesterday by UNICEF that is saying that 95% of girls sometimes miss school due to menstrual hygiene, lack of the girls-friendly facilities, which includes even the sanitary pads. And so Ghana hasn't got anything established for girls in school, and I'm not aware of it. I don't know if it's aware of it, but I don't know if there is something like that.
But how does all this hinder the development of the girl child? Because you go into an average public classroom, the teacher will tell you the girls are not confident. You grow closer to the girls and they tell you that I'm wearing the same pad from morning. So I'm not even paying attention to what the teacher is saying because I'm ashamed that if I get up, I'll soil myself, my colleagues will laugh at me. This thing under my panties is so uncomfortable, over my panties is so uncomfortable that I can't even concentrate in a classroom. And these are challenges girls in other parts of the world don't have to worry about. They just go to the school clinic, go to the nurse, they get the pads, they get to do all these things. How are our girls expected to be globally competitive when they can't even access something as basic as a sanitary pad?
So this is a big barrier, a big challenge to girls' development in Ghana. For example, if you are teasing me for menstruation or swelling my dress, which is natural, it is a problem. So one, the confidence level of the girl, will be low. I mean, even trust, fear of the unknown, teasing. You know how boys tease you in school. And so it doesn't build them up. Because of that, if I'm menstruating, it's better I stay home. I don't come to school to face all these challenges. And I was also reading from the same fact sheets by UNICEF that if in some regions in Ghana, like North Dine, in the Volta region and those places, it is believed that if a girl is menstruating, you don't touch anything, you don't even get near food, you don't touch cooking utensils, and so many things, and you must be quiet, you must be reserved. And I just said, what kind of life is this? Is it a crime to become a woman or to be a girl? And so with all this, it affects their developmental stages and then affect their education, and also their confidence level is very low when it can. You are going to face this every month in your life until you grow to adulthood. So I think it's something that the government should start looking at seriously, especially the Ghana Education Service and Ministry of Education, because we must see this as a priority. Girls at their level now, they need this right. And I believe that menstrual hygiene practices and access to facilities and everything is a right. And so if you don't give it to these girls, then we are really, really abusing their rights. It cannot be done by civil society. It cannot be done by development partners. It is the government that has to take this bold step and say, it is enough. We are going to take care of girls' menstrual hygiene from now on, and we are allocating resources to the sanitary pads for girls in schools. And I think this is what we should be advocating for.
Thank you. Now, Safia, you work with young girls in the Zongo communities. What are some of the stories they've shared with you and experiences you've had, you know, observing the challenges they've gone through because they don't have access to sanitary pads?
Okay, so before I come back to that question, in addition to what Mrs. Cecilia was saying, even aside girls, even women, I read a document about the state in Bangladesh where some women actually take contraceptives so as to prevent themselves from menstruating. Yes, because when they go to work, the conditions around is not favorable for them to change their pads and other things. So they prefer to not even go through that hassle when they would have to go to work, maybe at home. But because they have to report, then they would have to just disrupt their hormonal changes and not menstruate at all. So it's issues about girls, women in general. Everybody is inclusive. So it's something we have to really look at, like you said, and then provide the necessary destiny for the girls. So coming back to the young girl in the Zongo community, when you look at the Zongo community already, it's a vulnerable population, and then something that a girl elsewhere will be able to provide for herself, it becomes very challenging when you are coming from a Zongo community. We have engaged a number of schools, and because of COVID, it's becoming very devastating. The impact is very serious, because now most NGOs used to work with schools. So you go to schools and then give them sanitary pads and distribute it, but now it's not happening, because all those these things has been disrupted. So most of the girls share stories that sometimes you're at the point of crying, because even getting their fees and then those little monies to come to school is a problem. Then you have to channel some of these resources to buying sanitary products. So it's a huge problem, and it's very devastating. So like she said, I think the government has to take it on. So for the start, if it cannot be on a larger population, on a larger scale, but there should be some selected hotspots areas that I think they should be given the freedom to get sanitary pads in their schools, at their sick bays. There should be teachers who will be allocated to that specifically, so that when a lady is going through that during school period, she can go to her, talk to her, get the sanitary towel, change, and then continue to feel confident in her skin and then not be stigmatized at all. So basically, those are the challenges. Girls are really struggling when it comes to, because it's expensive. Yeah. Yes, it's expensive. Even for us, the elderly, sometimes getting it, you're kind of, okay, you have to buy it in bulk so that you don't have to be buying it small. Yes. So for a little girl who is trying to get her education, has to be spending, is it 5 cedi or 6 cedis every month to be buying a sanitary pad. And some people have heavy flow. Yeah. So even one pack is not enough. They would have to use like 2, which is like 10 cedi, 12 cedi. Then how do they also get to feed and also buy these products? Yeah. So I think the government has to look at it, and then stakeholders and other NGOs can come together to see how best these issues can be tackled, especially with the girls, the adolescents. For the women, we will take care of ourselves from that level.
Thank you. Yeah. Madam Cecilia, let's talk about the financial burden on the homes, right? Because in most low-income areas, this is a luxury that they simply cannot afford. Yeah. Your average sanitary pad is about 5 to 8 cedis, and your girl will probably need 2 in a month. What are some of the constraints this might place on families to say, young girl, stay home for a week, we can't afford to buy you a pad? And how can doing something as basic as making these things readily available help transform the economic status of girls in low-income communities?
Yeah. You know, many countries are exploring reusable sanitary pads, and also looking at making their own sanitary pad. A lot of international organizations are teaching girls how to prepare their own sanitary pad. These are things that we should start exploring. For example, a low-income home where mother and father have to wake up and do papa before they eat. And getting 10 cedis or 20 cedis for the girl a day is difficult. They will prefer the girl to stay home so that they rather use that money to buy food. And so, especially if you have more than one girl, maybe 2, 3 girls, and all of them are menstruating every month, it is difficult to sustain. And they will not put any priority to this. They might really even tell you that go and take this rag or something, or graphic, you know. It's so interesting to hear that the program that Hope for Future Generation is doing. We got to know that some of the girls use graphic
for their period.
I'm telling you.
And this is, I mean, it won't absorb anything.
It won't absorb. So they use paper. They use everything that they get because the flow is coming. You cannot go and the blood will be. So whatever they see, they put it to protect. That is from very poor community. Even in Accra.
We won't even get into the health implications of that.
And so you see what poverty can do. And I also, as Tafia said, I think it is also awareness and education to even the parents. Many people thought that if you are a girl, you are just born, you grow, you marry, that thing. They don't know that you have to go through certain stages where you need resources to achieve your potential.
So the mothers don't know this?
The mother, no, there are mothers who have never been to school. They know that in your menses you have to put on something. You know, so they think that how many of them use pad? That is the question. If a mother has never used pad, how can I teach the girl to use pad? And this is where we have to start thinking. We should, you see, if the mother is not well and she's not aware, definitely the child will not aware, will not be. And if it gets to school, maybe they tell you in school, you come back, you realize that it's not possible because you don't have money. And this is where many of the girls will turn to their boyfriends or somebody, give me money to buy pad. And if I tell my boyfriend, give me money to buy pad, I have really lowered myself. And you see, so they end up using different things to do their. It's so sad. It's very, very, anytime I go back and read those stories, I think we must all come together and call on the government to start looking at this. It is very low something, if you look at the resources we have as a country, to invest in girls' menstrual hygiene, I think it will bring us far.
Thank you very much. This is still Breakfast Daily on CITI TV. Today is World Menstrual Hygiene Day, and in as much as we've made a lot of progress as a country in so many areas, there are girls in this country who can't go to school because they don't have access to sanitary pads. There are girls in this country who are using newspapers as sanitary pads because they simply cannot afford it. Now, how are we supposed to grow the next generation of powerful women in this country when we can't provide sanitary pads for our young girls? If you want to join the conversation, use the hashtag Breakfast Daily, and our WhatsApp line is 0550-585-832. If you're outside Ghana, please use the country code +233. So, Safia, how do we start with the mothers? Because some mothers even feel uncomfortable talking about menstruation with their daughters. So a lot of young girls have to rely on their friends to educate themselves on what they are supposed to do.
Yeah. So in addition to that, there's even instances where family members have exploited young girls just because they find it comfortable to discuss their menstrual health issues with them rather than their direct parents. Yes, uncles and distant relatives actually end up raping and sleeping with these young girls for financial gains, to buy sanitary pads, and then just because they want to share with them the psychological and then the trauma they go through when the menses come. Especially those who have cramps, you know, it can be so painful. Yeah. Yes, so because you don't have the adequate information about how to handle all these, you resort to maybe an uncle or something, and then he takes advantage of you because of your situation. So I think with the mothers, the education has to come, like Mrs. Cecilia said, there should be family health incorporated in this whole thing, so that it wouldn't only be about the girls, because the girls come from home. Yeah. And if no matter the education you give to her, she goes back home and then the conditions and then the mother is not adequately informed to keep on reminding her, have you done this? You know you're in your period, you're not supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. Then it's a cost-90 work for all of us. So I think there should be measures put in place. There should be investment in research as well, so that we can focus on improving the health and well-being of these girls. Believe you me, there's also a link between menstrual hygiene management and the SDGs, which sometimes it hasn't been well looked at because it's not directly linked. That's how people see. But
please make the connection.
Yes, because when you look at the menstrual hygiene of a girl, it's about her health and her well-being. Because if she uses paper, then she has reproductive health issues. Then health and well-being for all, at all ages. It hasn't been well realized, which is the SDG Goal 3. Then we also look at education and inclusive continuous learning for everybody, especially girls. But now she's menstruating, she's absenting herself from school. It's continuous for a time, and over time she doesn't even see the relevance to continue her education. She becomes a dropout, or because she doesn't have the adequate information, she doesn't even know that this is what I'm supposed to do when I'm ovulating, and after ovulation my period will come, teenage pregnancy sets in, and her education is disrupted. And there's also the need for everyone to have adequate resources and sanitation facilities. When she's menstruating, after removing the pad, where does she dispose it of? Her school environment, has it been well structured such that there are facilities for you to adequately dispose of your sanitary towels without shame and with confidence? Is it there? And even at the workplace, have we put in place facilities so that maybe female nurses at work, do they have facilities that will enable them change comfortably, watch down when there's the need to? Maybe when a nurse or something saws herself at work, does she have the resources to kind of quickly go and change without having to feel ashamed or embarrassed that I've soiled my uniform and then I have to quickly leave work, which also leads to less productivity at work and all that. So there is a link. So if we want to achieve the SDGs by 2030, like we've been putting much focus in other aspects, directly, women are always menstruating at the end of every month. A woman cannot be put differently from menstruation. It comes with us. So if we want to talk about issues of women and girls, then we have to take the issue of menstruation seriously as well, so as to attain all the other variables we want to achieve.
Thank you very much, Safia. Mrs. Cecilia, let's talk about the mothers, because sometimes the mothers themselves have been doing the wrong thing all their lives. So they don't know any different. That's what they will pass on to the girl. They can come to school, they can meet with you guys, you can tell them one thing, but if you go home and your mom says, this is what I've been doing, so stick a cloth there all day long, that's what you need to do. Where do we reach these mothers?
Yeah, I know NCC has a big role. The government institutions educating the citizen must really take some of this as part of their responsibility, because they can go far and they have all the resources to do that. And so educating the mothers, we can also target the churches.
Yes.
Because every church has more women and mosques have a lot of women. And so we have to strengthen our partnership with the faith-based organizations, the churches, and speak the local language, because that is, you see, the low-hanging fruit. The churches are there. Everybody go to church, if not twice a week, once a week. And so we should really look at strengthening partnership with the churches and the mosque, educate the women, because we listen to our church leaders. If Reverend Dr. or Bishop Duncan William mounts the podium and start talking about menstrual hygiene, how to take care of yourself, I think every woman in that church will listen. If the Catholic Bishop of Ghana, my bishop, talked about in Accra, the Archbishop talked about menstrual hygiene, take care of yourself and all this, it will work. And so talking about it, the mothers have to be targeted, because if our mothers are our role model, whatever my mother tells me is what I do. And so we should really reach out to the mothers. And for me, as a development worker, the easiest way to reach mothers is using our churches and then our mosque.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll go for a quick break. This is still Breakfast Daily on CITI TV. Today's World Menstrual Hygiene Day, and we're talking about how to ensure that your period is not something that will prevent our young girls from achieving their goals and going on to become great women. There are still girls in this country who don't have access to sanitary. To the conversation, let us know the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585-832. If you're outside Ghana, please use the country code +233. We'll be right back.
It's here, the Express Pay app. More social, more power, more services. Experience a cooler way of payments with exciting new features. Want to go social? Upload a cool image to add a personal feel to your account. Payments are even more seamless with an enhanced process. Mark some accounts as favorites so they are super easy to access. Even cooler, view payment due dates and check remaining balances for your favorite accounts. Want to repeat a payment? Do that right from the History tab. Have all your money in one place with a sleek look and feel. Bank Direct has had an awesome makeover. You can now send money instantly to 22 banks and counting. Express Pay, payments simplified.
Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on CITI TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Today's World Menstrual Hygiene Day, and we've been talking about how to ensure that our young girls and women in this country have access to sanitary pads, that your period isn't something that you are ashamed of, that, you know, women and girls will not have to feel so bad and have a lack of confidence because they are struggling with feeling uncomfortable because they have papers, you know, holding them up as pads because they cannot afford sanitary pad. On an average, your average young girl will spend about 6 to 12 cedis a month to buy sanitary pads, and that's a luxury that most families simply cannot afford. But the girl should not be able to, you know, should not be able to achieve her dreams because she can't afford sanitary pads. The show. Kamal says, good morning to my sister Safia. This great woman is doing a lot in our Zongo community, and it is time we started celebrating her to the max. She is really transforming the Zongo. Good morning, CITI TV. Aside the education, the government and helpers should come together and provide a brand of sanitary pad which is not for sale to be distributed in schools and communities, hospitals for the poor and needy. It has to be advertised that it is free, so anyone who sells it will be arrested. This is coming from Maggie from Taifa, and I think that's a really great contribution there, because there's absolutely no reason why, you know, corporate Ghana and other institutions can say, as part of our corporate social responsibilities, we are providing this absolutely free to people who can't afford it. Now let's talk about our sisters who are dealing with some form of disability. How does this also contribute to their daily struggles?
It's a very sad scene when you visit some of the disability schools, especially in the North Avelugu. We work there, and we are partnering the disabled Savelugu School for the Deaf, and then the Savelugu disabled schools. It is a difficult one because many of them have psychological impairment, and apart from that physical, teaching them to even use the pad to protect themselves is a challenge. Even understanding their menstruation is a whole process. and a project we are implementing with Netherlands Foreign Ministry, Get Up, Speak Up. We reach out to them, and we realize that it's an area that we need to put more investment, because in the school, maybe when you start menstruating, they don't understand. They know that something is coming out, and I mean, at their level, they just move. And I think that as we talk about girls in general, we should also focus on girls in the schools of disability, or the schools of disability schools, and invest in them, because it takes a long time for the teachers to even let them understand. Those with hearing impairment, those with visual impairment, those with other impairment need unique way of communicating to them to understand that in menstruation, this is the way I have to take care of myself and the rest. And then the second thing is having access to the menstrual hygiene materials, as some I'm talking about, which we've been talking about, that we should focus also, apart from talking about the general schools, we should look at the schools of disability schools and invest more money into them, so that they can have access as other schools. Yes, that is what I just want to say, because sexual reproductive health should include sanitary hygiene, menstrual hygiene, and everything, and it should be integrated in all the schools of disability.
Okay. So we have a video of a young girl sharing her experience going through menstruation and also having a disability. We'll take a look at that video and continue the show.
When I started having menstruation, I didn't know how to communicate it to my mother. But later, my mother saw it. I was bleeding. Then she taught me how to keep myself and helped me to acquire some pad.
So there you have it, a young, very brilliant girl saying that she didn't even know how to tell her mom that I'm experiencing this. Where do we even begin from as far as getting parents to prepare that you have a daughter, she's a child, at some point you will have to initiate that conversation?
Yes. If you talk of parents who are educated, it's very easy. But parents who really don't understand, that is where the challenge is. And I you know, it's a whole chain, you know. If my mother didn't tell me when I was a girl and I didn't understand, I give birth to girls, it will continue. And there should be a place that this chain will break. The gap should be really break to ensure that it is done. Again, education of the mother is very important. And so this is where we have to start thinking adult education is very important. Partnership with the media, community radio, because in almost every community you hear that there is radio. Early morning someone opens radio. And I think that we should really look at how do we really strengthen partnership with media and then the national NCCE to take out this basic education. I also said that we should integrate family health education into our interventions. I will be happy one day to see where health and faith, church works together, where all the education work jointly with faith, because that is where you can get a lot of people very focused listening to you. And so if we can partner that, and every church you go, when you count women, they are more than men. And so if you want to target women, for me, I believe that the best place to get women, which is very cheap, not inexpensive, should be the churches, the mosque.
Okay.
And apart from that, we can also strengthen partnership with the traditional leaders, queen mothers, who are already role models, custodians of our culture and our tradition. We should strengthen partnership with them and reach out to them. I mean, we should use basic existing structures that we have to reach out to people that cannot travel to Accra, who cannot travel to Kumasi, who don't have TV, who don't have radio, but can hear it from somebody. I think these are the areas that I think innovations that we should start looking at, because they can't use technology. Now everybody can get social media. We are on Facebook, the young people, but so many mothers cannot. And so that's the way we can target women.
Thank you. Safia, let's talk about our schools, because, I mean, the process of changing your pad it's very messy. You know, you need to first of all wash your hands before you go down there to change your pad. After you take off the old pad, you need a lot of toilet paper to clean it. You know, advisably, you should even be using wipes, not toilet paper. You go to some of our schools, they don't have running water. They don't have soap. They don't even have tissue paper for the young girls to use when they have to change. How have we failed our young girls by not making these basic essentials available for them to use when it's a time of the month?
I think we failed well enough because for some schools some schools don't even have facilities for that at all. Some schools don't have it at all. So like maybe a lot of basic schools, which we think they go back home. But then the person goes to school. But what if the menses comes when the person was at school? So she can't say that I'll wait till I go home. So definitely she will go home. So it means that day she has lost academic work for that day, which shouldn't be the case. So I think we have to look at it very well and then start putting in place structures that is female friendly as well, not just any structure. It should be female friendly. Maybe even aside just the toilet space, there should be a place, confined place, where you can comfortably change, do whatever you want to do, tie up your pad, and then comfortably dispose it off. It should be eco-friendly as well. It shouldn't just be disposing it off and then later it will cause harm to other people around. So it's a problem. And most senior high school, I know there is a school we went to some time back, even the washrooms they use, they gather at one place to bath and other things. So when you're bathing, it's fine. But what if you want to change? How do you do that? And some girls are so shy of their bodies. So you kind of, it's like the person's confidence, she's not okay, she's not comfortable changing in front of other people. So I think we have to look at the whole engineering thing about how these things are put in place and start looking at it from that level, because the ladies or the girls' human right too is at stake. So if you say human rights, and then a lady is not comfortable when she's menstruating, then a human right has not been well achieved at the end of the day. So I think we have to look at it very well and then give that due privilege to women and girls in various schools and in basic schools at all levels. It shouldn't be a matter of maybe it's a boarding facility, so we have to do it. Even if it is a day school, women menstruate anytime. Sometimes you don't even know when it is coming. Some people are not able to track their period. So it just comes anytime, and then the facility should be there to adequately help her cater for her menstrual health needs and lead her to get the adequate health she needs to safeguard all these stuffs.
Okay, Madam Cecilia, let's talk about the teachers within the schools, right? Especially maybe the female teachers. What role should they play in educating the girl child about menstrual cramps, how long you should have your pad on, when you should change it, you know, the harmful effects of keeping it on for too long? Because I learned about toxic shock syndrome when I was 12 years old, so I knew you can't keep this thing on for too long. You'll get sick. What role should the teachers play in all of this?
Yes, so if you look at the number of hours school children spend, people spend in school, they have a lot of time with the teachers, especially their school health teachers. For girls, it is good for the women, the ladies or lady teachers, to educate them. And it should be done every day. At least, even if it's 20 minutes you talk about menstrual hygiene, they have a role to play. One, I think you know that the way our biological makeup as women has exposed us to a lot of infection if you don't take care of your private parts. And so you are exposed to a lot of infection. So they have to let them know that whatever go to that part can give you infection. So it should be always clean. Two, you can't wear pad the whole day. And so if, like she said, tracking your menses, not all of them can track their menses. But if you can track your menses and you know that, I mean, you must come with extra pad, at least 2 or 3 in your bag. Especially if you have a heavy flow, naturally have heavy flow, you can change about 5-6 times. If you are coming to school the whole up to maybe 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you might need to change. So I think the teachers need to really let them know. That is the time they even have to teach you that you can get pregnant if you don't protect yourself, take care of yourself, because looking at the menstrual hygiene, there is a cycle, and there is a certain part of the cycle that if you have sex or you have any sexual intercourse, you end up getting pregnant. And so I think this education by the lady teachers is very important. Our teachers are our role model. My small girl will go to school and come and tell you that this is what the teacher says and this is what I want to do. And so she will not listen to mommy saying anything. And I think that the teachers are our role model. I always admire my lady teacher, the way she dresses, the way she... And I think this is where they have a big role to play. Mentor them because they are women, take good care of them, and teach them what to do, the do's and don'ts, and maintaining menstrual hygiene. And then also the material, using the material. I think I remember when I was in primary school those days, our lady teacher even said if you don't have money to buy pad, you get any other material, make sure that you wash it, iron it, pack it nicely into a rubber. When your menstrual period comes, you can use it and change it every day. Now, I don't know if those education is going on, and I think they have to really teach them what to do.
Okay. Sophia, how do we also get them to know how to handle things like menstrual cramps, that you're going to be in pain and not feel ashamed that they are going through this?
Yeah. So it's all adds up to what Mrs. Cecilia said. This whole thing will be catered for by the teachers, because the students and the girls, they listen to the teachers a lot. So you being a woman, a teacher, I'm sure will be in her elder state, you should be able to teach the girl. Usually I have very severe cramps, but then because I know how it comes, I can track my period. When it's getting nearer, if I have any plans or agenda, I wouldn't even let it come around that time. Yes, and I'm able to do things that would suppress the pain. Yeah, it's severe, it's painful, but if you know what to do and how to handle it, I use water bottles sometimes. If I track it early, it's able to suppress by 1 or 2 hours. I'm back on my feet, and
so you just
I'm
drink
about
a lot of
fluid too. Yes, and then there is this water bottle that you can put hot water in it, then put it on your abdomen,
and then it helps.
Yes, and it helps. Yes, so all these are all basic things, because so if you can't even buy that water bottle from the pharmacy, I'm sure there can be inventions that you can use. Yes,
you can put a bottle.
Yes, put it, and then it will suppress the pain after some hours. Which, if you don't do that, maybe the whole day you'll be in pain. You are back on your feet and you are everywhere. So I think the teachers, the female teachers, would have to be motivated to. So for you to take up this thing and add it to your already responsibility that you have already, you should be giving some form of motivation so that you'll be able to take it up on yourself, and then be that leader that the student want. They can always come to you, you educate them, do this, do that, because it's true, some parents from the girls we work with, they never tell their wards anything about menstruation. Boom, you are there one day, it is there,
which is problematic for all the parents watching. You should be talking to your girl child. They don't talk
to their girls about it. I think I'll have to look at the
please speak to them.
Yes. Most Zongo girls, for instance, that we work with, have shared with me how it is their friends who told them how to even handle their menses. They didn't know anything about it. They were just there one day and then they saw blood all over. What to do, what to do, what to do. You're even shy to talk about it with your mom. You don't want to talk about it with your mom. Your father is not even the right person to go to. So I think in addition to, it shouldn't be only the mothers. Some girls too are very comfortable talking with their fathers. Yes. So the fathers too can take it up. If the mom is not comfortable talking about it, or maybe due to her busy schedule, she wakes up in the morning, by the time the girl will even get up, maybe she's left for the market or something, the dads can take it up. The senior brothers can take it up on themselves and start educating the young girls about
how important is this point? Because some parents are so ashamed of having this conversation with their kids without realizing that if you don't educate that child, someone else will take advantage of her. So please let us know the importance of getting rid of our own selfish shame and having the conversation with our children.
It's very important. Like we said, I just shared an instance where a girl shared with me. I even have the video in one of our encounters. She said it was her uncle who she shared her issue with. Then he realized that, okay, since you are menstruating, it means you are a big girl now. The menstruation period will definitely go. And now he starts making advances at you. and you can't even buy your sanitary towels. So he provides you with 5 cedis, 6 cedis, 10 cedis here and there. And he was sleeping with her continuously. So we went to their school that day, and she shared that story with us. It was very pathetic. For as low as 10 cedis, maybe if you had even shared it with your mom, she could have raised that money for you. But because, I don't know whether sometimes too it's lack of confidence on the part of the girls. Because some parents, I believe it should be the parents, because you gave birth. Yes, you should initiate it. Yes, maybe she's 10 years, 11 years. You can start asking her once in a while. Have you started doing this? Even pubertal changes is happening. You've seen changes in her, so definitely you should know that you've been there before. So it means my girl is getting there. And when you compare girls who have that bond with their parents, who spoke to them about menstruation, usually they are very confident. They know what they are about. It's like in totality they are very confident. Their educational level, everything is on. But when you don't have that link, your parents are not talking to you about menstruation, then it goes on bigger issues you can't even go and talk to them about. Your confidence is impaired, and then all other negatives will definitely set in. So I think the parent, Mrs. Cecilia will be able to take it deeper, because she's a parent, about how to handle the issue of getting the parents to initiate.
I think you've done a very good job. But talk to us about the importance of not taxing .
I gave the person 20 cedis to get variety. And so this was what I had. And definitely, the cost of sanitary pad includes the tax. Now, if we are talking of access of sanitary pad, then the government should start thinking of making it very cheap. Cheap, if it will not be free at all, then it should be cheap that everybody can afford. And so if you want to make it cheap, then it should be tax-free. Because the people who are bringing the product to produce it are taxed. And so definitely, I think they are institutions for profit making. And so they will add their tax. And so you end up paying more for the sanitary pad. And so as we are advocating for free sanitary pad, the bigger advocacy for now should go to not taxing the sanitary pad, so that
Thank you very much. So, Madam Cecilia will be showing us how to properly put on the sanitary pads, but I've received some messages from you, so I'll be reading them briefly. I totally agree with partnering with churches and traditional heads. This is coming from Patient Densu. Great discussions. Kudos to the team. This is coming from EFA, and we have some more messages here as well. Sharif Mohammed says, good morning to you, Jifa, and your cherished viewers. And secondly, the Safia Abdallah Rabo for such a wonderful work that she's done so far with her campaign on COVID-19 within the Zongo communities in Ghana. My question to Safia is, how has her organization so far contributed to the education and assistance of the girl child in their menstrual health and hygiene? And finally, the two wonderful women in your studio can partner to effect tremendous change in our society. So I'll be asking them both the work that they are doing and how you at home can support them so that they scale up the work that they are doing. So, Madam Cecilia, please walk us through the process of putting on a sanitary pad.
So, this is the ordinary sanitary pad. Before you start using, wash your hand. Your hands must be very clean. And then if you look at the sanitary pad, it has a place for opening. You understand? So you find your way of opening it. Ensure that your hand doesn't touch the inner part that goes under the woman. And so you open this side and make sure that you don't hold the middle part, and then this side. Normally we advise that you put the pant on and
so
lower it.
You would have it on.
And so it has a sheet, you remove it, then you get your pants inner side. If you wear it ready, you hold it by the side, but not by the middle. So you take it out of the sheet. It's important that you remove the back, because this is where is where you stick into the pants. And so make sure that it's well positioned in your pants, so you stick it into it. You know, this is the smaller part. Exactly.
Yeah, so you do it like this.
Yes. Okay. So please put it in the middle. And make sure that make sure you don't touch the middle part of the part that goes under the woman. And then you hold it, make sure it's stuck, because under here has a sticker that can stick perfectly into your pants. And then you open the wing and make sure that you bring the wing back and stick it under. You don't touch the middle, because it can give you, and then you open it nicely.
So you just put it on like
under,
this.
then you put it on. So the flow is there. We have different types of pad. This is just the ordinary one. If you have a heavy flow, normally for women who has given birth, or if you have very heavy flow, you use the long one, that type.
So this is for people with heavy flow.
Heavy flow, but we have different types.
So when you're going out to buy, you should know the type that you're buying as well.
The type that you want.
Okay.
And then, and even this general one has different ones that when you go, they give it to you. But always make sure that it's stuck so that it doesn't move as you walk. And normally women like putting on, apart from this, their pants, they also put on stretch.
Yes.
To secure it very well and position it. And then we have the other one, which is the
panty liner.
Panty liner. Normally every girl wants to use it so that it prevents a lot of things flowing into your pants, especially sweat and different things.
You have a little bit of yeast infection or something.
Yeah, to also protect you from getting infection. And you must make sure that you have extra in your bag. Every girl has a lot of this in. If you take girl's bag, it's there. And you must change it frequently. Remember, anytime you are changing your sanitary pad, wash your hand with soap and running water to protect yourself.
Thank you very much. And
welcome.
I personally find pads very uncomfortable, so I use tampons, right? And that one is really easy. You just, you know, push it out like this, and then you stick it inside, and then it expands as it's absorbing the blood, so you would know when it's full. And then you take it out, you clean the area, and you stick a new one in, right? So that's another option for you. Lastly, please tell us about your organizations and how we can support the work that you're doing.
Okay, so the Zongo Girls for Education, we work in Zongo communities for girls and women, yes. So due to the impact of COVID-19, we've been doing a lot on COVID-19. So we are looking at a large-scale donation this time around. The one-time donation, and it's like the girls, they will use it a month or two and it's done. So this time around, we are looking at giving them a supply that will last them for like 3 to 4 months.
Nice.
Yes, so we are reaching out to the general public to support us in this outreach, so that we can reach out to a lot of girls, yes, in their communities and then in their schools within the Zongo communities.
Is there a number to contact you on as well as a Momo number to donate?
Yes, so for the Momo number is 0556 170 283. And then if you want to also call us to make any enquiries too, you can reach us on 0205 2575 38.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Madam Cecilia.
So my organization, Hope for Future Generations, is a community-based but national NGO. It's a Ghanaian NGO actually, and our focus is on women, young people, and children. We really look at empowering young people and women with different interventions. We work across all the 10 regions.
Nice.
We have all the 16 regions, but we have offices in 7 regions strategically positioned to reach out to every part of the country. Our head office is Ajolo. We are near the Ghana Refugee Board. Our focus, we work a lot with persons with disability and also work with Ghana Education Service, improving girls' situation in school and education, ensure that they are retained. Okay. We partner different institutions, especially the media.
Nice. So we're partnering you more.
Exactly.
What's the number to contact you?
So you can get us on 0244 457 231. We do a lot of partnership, and our passion is to change the life of people, disadvantaged people, so that they can also be part of the national issues.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Cecilia Senoo. She's the Executive Director of Hope for Future Generations and a board member of the National Population Council Ghana, as well as Safia Abdullah Rabo. She's the Executive Director for Zongo for Girls Education Ghana. Today's World Menstrual Hygiene Day. If you do nothing at all, donate to an organization that's making it easier for girls to have access to sanitary pads. There's absolutely no reason why a girl should not continue her education, should not be able to rise out of poverty, should not be able to achieve her biggest potential because you don't have access to a sanitary pad. Thank you guys so much for staying with us for Breakfast Daily. We'll be right back.
There is no promise we cannot keep. There is no commitment we cannot honor. There is no delivery we cannot guarantee. There is only one Bethel Logistics Company Limited, a licensed international freight forwarding and clearing agent, a trusted global brand with an extensive network for the movement of air freight and ocean freight worldwide. We are the trusted name for road freight into Western and Northern Africa. We are fully accredited by Ghana Customs and Excise. We cater for all your freight forwarding, customs clearing and forwarding, cross trades, inland transportation, internal cargo tracking systems, customer freight costing and consultancy, cold chain logistics management, logistics and warehousing, quality inspection, and much more. In Accra, Tema and Takrady, we are always available to ensure easy movement of cargo countrywide. Call us on 0204 528 900 or 0244 707 859. Email info@bethellogistics.com. Locate us in Accra at North Ridge, adjacent Accra Girls High School, or in Tema at Community 4, or in Takrady on the second floor of the GCB building. Website bethellogistics.com. Bethelog, experts in shipping logistics.
It's here, the Express Pay app. More social, more power, more services. Experience a cooler way of payments with exciting new features. Want to go social? Upload a cool image to add a personal feel to your account. Payments are even more seamless with an enhanced process. Mark some accounts as favorites so they are super